Okay, so we're on the final stage of the path, the Ascension stage, where we begin to integrate with and live from our astral body. So in this place, we're not necessarily healing our astral body, we're learning how to live from our astral body. So it's a little bit different than the other stages. This is the, in the concepts of the elements, because this is related to the element ether, up here ether is an element in the sense of categorizing and understanding, but really ether is the space or the potential energy that the other elements are created into. So fire comes from ether, water comes from ether, air comes from ether, and earth comes from ether. Ether is like the quantum energy, the quantum potential, the underlying fundamental kind of energy that creates these things. So ether is like a wave where these things are like particles. That's the best way I can kind of explain it to you. So this is the stage here. It's where we're moving from, the earth stage was where we're moving from here up this way, from water. So from ether to fire. Then as we get into the awareness stage, we go from fire to air. When we go into the acceptance stage, we go from air to water. When we go to the alignment stage, we go from water to earth. And then so from earth to ether is the ascension stage, where we're ascending back up to the truth of what we are, the truth of our higher self, so that we can live from that place. This is the process of becoming your higher self, living from your higher self, and living in flow. In the shamanic warrior books, and the Aniel's teacher in this stage is the divine prophet. Now in the actual ancient systems, it's many different characters. It's Archangel Metatron in some cases. It's also the higher self, the actual higher self, or because the divine prophet isn't really the character who's teaching Aniel. The divine prophet is creator being channeled through the divine prophet to teach Aniel, because the divine prophet lives from the place of his higher self. I don't even know if it is a him, it might be a she, it might be an it, I haven't decided. The divine prophet isn't really a person, the divine prophet is the channel of creator or of God. In this stage, we begin to live in the divine flow. We begin to see that our life is moving in a certain direction. We let go of attachment of that direction. We just watch it. We know that our mission is, our purpose is, we're aligned with it. We're doing what we need to do. We know that we've healed the bodies. We know that we've healed the elements. We know that we've reached certain levels of mastery. We've mastered the four elemental arts, fire, air, water, earth, so that we can become the ether element. Again, Aniel further reinforces that life is a video game in this stage, because in this stage of the apprenticeship, what he's learning how to do is connect to his higher self and see life from that video game perspective all of the time, and not really come out of it unless something really jars him out of it. He learns that we are all godlike beings. We are all godlike beings. He learns that everyone is a reflection of him, and that the universe is a projection from him in this stage. He learns to invoke divine love. Now, divine love is the energy of unconditional love. It's love of everything. People say, oh, unconditional love, but then they're still judging their circumstances, they're still judging their family, they're still judging their financial situation, they're still judging their body, they're still judging their lives. They're not living from a place of unconditional love. True love is the masculine showering us down with abundance, and it's the feminine spanking our ass with a wooden spoon if that's necessary for us to grow. See, the feminine is nature, and nature can be vicious sometimes. The masculine is the light, the unmanifested world. And so when divine love comes to us from the unmanifested world, it comes to us in the form of miracles. When it comes to us in the form of the manifested world, sometimes it comes in the form of lessons, or in the form of karma coming back to us, or cause and effect, or again, the spanking on the ass with a wooden spoon. This is nature neutralizing our cause and effect. Remember, I said that Everything we give the universe gives back to us. So if we give a hard time to the universe is going to give a hard time back to us until we purge it from our emotional bodies. So in this case, divine love is recognizing that love is all there is. Love is all there is. We say, well, how can there be love when there's so much suffering in the world? Well, because you don't understand what love is. Love is all there is. Even the suffering in the world is love compared to infinite nothingness, which is the only other alternative. Suffering is necessary for life. Therefore, suffering is love, and love is suffering. Masculine and feminine are one and the same, even if they look like they're opposites. Becoming free of all pain and suffering is what happens in this stage. And if we're not fully free from it, we know how to become free from it, and we're working toward becoming free from it. If some tragedy happens in our life, we still grieve, we still process, we still feel pain, but we don't hold it anymore. We fully process it, we fully let it go. We don't create beliefs, we don't create traumas, we don't create suffering as a result of our experiences. We feel them fully while they're happening, and then we let them go. Things begin to flow and manifest with ease. Miracles really start to happen in our lives. We become the master of our relationships and master of expressing ourselves honestly. We become the ancient Hindi, the yoga cities, the yoga superpowers call this blazing radiance, where we just walk into a room and our presence is felt. And we feel that presence everywhere we go. We take it with us. It's the mastery of ourself and the mastery of our habits and our behaviors and the mastery of our relationships. We learn how to create deep and meaningful relationships to others in ways that serve them and us. We have a steady presence and an effortless flow. We've trained our body enough to be calm and relaxed so we're not twitching and fidgety. I'm still kind of dealing with some of this stuff a little bit sometimes. I don't want to say that on video. No, I'm not. That will put it in time. I'm doing just fine. But sometimes we might find ourselves twitching and experiencing some of this old leftover trauma. Well, in this state, it's all gone. Again, I feel myself steadily moving toward this without any real struggles anymore. We have a grounded confidence and an exceptional faith. Exceptional faith in ourselves, exceptional confidence, not in a conceited way, but in a way that we know who we are and where we've come from and what we really are in life. Life begins to be a playground, and the earth is our kingdom. The earth is our kingdom. We walk around like humble kings and humble queens in secret. Nobody else knows we're a king or queen, but we know it, and we carry that energy with us. But we also are humble, and we ask for what we want, and we help out, and we hold the door for people, and we compliment people. We don't think we're better than anyone else because we know that we are them and they are us, but we also hold that energy of like a humble king or a humble queen. We have a deep inner knowing and freedom from fear of loss or death. We don't fear death and loss in the same way anymore. We're aware of it. We know that it's possible. We know that it can happen, but we're not afraid of it anymore. We master courage, compassion, wisdom, and humility, the four elements: courage, compassion, wisdom, and humility, or Yod, He, Vav, He. We master these elements, creating the experience of unconditional love, or ether, or Yod, He, Shin, Vav, He, where we actually live from a place of courage, compassion, wisdom, humility, and unconditional love. These 5 really powerful values in our being. When we really understand them, we start to become them. We become, again, like I said, the humble kings and queens. This is the state that the ancients called enlightenment, or absolute happiness. The shamans in Peru call this. The end of correction in Kabbalah, where we corrected our bodies. The end of suffering in Buddhism. I know I mentioned it, but I want to mention it again. This is the promised land. This stage happens as the other stages greatly progress. Now imagine, again, that you're seeing the world. Here's your eyeball. Okay? You're seeing the world through 4 lenses. So this is you, the astral body, or the higher self. And this is the fire element, this is the air element, this is the water element, this is the earth element. It doesn't really exist like this, but this is just a way of understanding it. What you see back here in reality, the projection of the screen, has been filtered through each one of these lenses. So the picture you're seeing Now in the earth element, you've got a bunch of tension. In the water element, you've got a bunch of anger. In the air element, you've got a bunch of self-limiting beliefs. And in the fire element, you don't take action on your life. The world you're going to see is going to be very, 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 very different than the world somebody who has done all this work is going to see. They're going to see a completely different reality than you are. They're going to see opportunities in a different way than you can, or than somebody else who hasn't done this work can, and the experience is going to be very different for them. This is freedom from overwhelming triggers and emotional or mental suffering. Not saying you don't get triggered at all. I mean, technically, you probably wouldn't get triggered in this stage, but I'm not there yet, so I don't really know to say that. But what will happen is if you get triggered, you'll immediately transmute it, transcend it, and heal it. I'm pretty much there now. I get triggered. I pretty much immediately can figure out what it is. Sometimes I have to eject myself from the situation to figure it out, but I can only assume that by the time I reach this stage, there won't be any triggers left, or I'll have processed them, or at least I'll have enough self-control to not give in to them. Which again, I feel like I'm there most of the time. We feel at home everywhere we go. Even if we don't know anyone, we know that we can meet people. We know that we can create relationships anywhere we go. We know that we can create opportunities anywhere we can go. We can move to a country and not speak the language and still create relationships. We can move somewhere where we don't think we fit in and still end up fitting in. We're just able to do that. We're able to create that for ourselves. This is a total balance of our masculine and feminine energies. It's a balance of accepting our feminine nature while really being okay with our masculine nature at the same time. Because we are not one or the other. Gender is not binary. We are non-binary. We are masculine and feminine manifested together. We become one with Creator and creation. We become one with the creator of our experience, and we become one with the creation itself, with the experience. This is unity consciousness. This is connectedness. This is what it means to become, we are all one. It's because we recognize that literally everyone's a reflection of us. In your experience of reality, everyone is a reflection of you. In my experience of reality, everyone's a reflection of me. We don't live in the same reality. Reality is quantum. It's incredibly complex to understand. It might take a lifetime to even accept that. We essentially become the Holy Child. We become Yahshua. We become Horus. We become the Christ self. Miraculous healing and transformation begins. If we really take this to the level that we want to take it at, if we really, really follow our rock star path, the stuff we'll experience will be next level. Let me tell you, miracles will not be uncommon for you. Miracles will be a common occurrence in your life. And, you could argue, are they really miracles? Well, who knows? Maybe not. But they sure feel like it sometimes. So if you want to start building this connection now, you don't have to wait till the other elements are done to start experiencing varying levels of this happiness, of this ascension stage. You can experience this all throughout the process. You can experience it when you're in prayer. Deep in prayer, you can begin to experience this oneness. You can experience it in meditation. You can experience it in ceremony. As you develop better relationship skills, you'll feel it in your relationships. If you go on pilgrimages or spiritual retreats to other parts of the world, you might have varying experiences of it there. Breath work stuff can help you experience this. Again, deep meditation, yoga retreats, fasting, cleansing, playing. When you're really lost in play, when you're doing something that you just love so much that time feels like you're in a warp zone, you're living in that enlightened state. You're living in that flow state at that time. When we're living in flow, our brain and our body release certain chemicals that make us feel better and make us heal and make us grow and make us become one with everything and start to manifest things in our life almost miraculously. So we can access this state all throughout the other stages, but the idea is to go through those stages to live in this state all the time. Going to church or temple is a way to start connecting more deeply to this state. Floating, like I mentioned earlier, plant medicines were a huge aspect, a huge help for me. Plant medicines like cannabis, plant medicines like dimethyltryptamine, plant medicines like psilocybin, ayahuasca, San Pedro. I use cannabis in small amounts almost every day. Sometimes I can't even tell. I can't feel the effects of it. Sometimes I can feel them really intensely, but I use it almost every day, some form or another. Pretty much every day, to be honest. Deep vulnerability work is a way to get through this, really showing the world who you are and having that courage. Neutralizing all of your relationships, healing all your relationships is how you're going to reach this state of oneness. Studying esoteric wisdom. We can't really fully absorb all of this and in this society without studying esoteric wisdom. If you lived in the Amazon jungle or you lived in a rainforest, you lived in the woods or something, you study nature long enough, all of this truth will come to you without studying esoteric wisdom. Unfortunately, we live in the world of distractions and social media and videos and so on, so we have to balance that with studying things that support what we're creating in our life. getting speaking lessons, getting, again, relationship skills, learning how to socialize, taking programs, reading books, reading about relationships. Something that really helped me was studying nonviolent communication. I'm still practicing and learning, but it's very valuable because I didn't understand the concept until I read the book a couple of times. It's by a guy named Marshall Rosenberg. Look up nonviolent communication. It's valuable, really, really priceless for doing this kind of work. This stage is the goal. It's the goal that we're trying to get to. We're trying to live in this place all the time. You may find yourself living in there most of the time, and who am I to say that you have any work to do? If you're able to get yourself to this state, maybe the work is done for you. If you're able to get yourself here and keep yourself here and not be worried about anything else and be truly, honestly happy, then I can't tell you that you need to get somewhere else. But it's up to you to be fully honest with yourself. It's up to you to be honest. Are you missing out on a life that you really want because you're afraid? Are you missing out on a life that you really want because you don't want to look into the past? You don't want to ruffle any feathers? And one thing I want to say, when I say that you're healing your relationships and neutralizing them, I don't necessarily mean that you have to talk to that person or connect to that person or be with that person to do it physically. You do all of this work on your own if you need to without even connecting to anyone else. By the time you get to this stage and you've done all of this healing, you're going to want to connect to the people who hurt you, at least to neutralize it. Some of them at least. Maybe not all of them. I haven't connected every person who's ever hurt me, but I've forgiven them in some form or another. I've talked to therapists about them. I've talked to people about it, shamans. I've healed this work in some form or another. You're going to want to heal your relationships. It's vital to this work. The first lesson Mother Ayahuasca ever gave me was to nurture the roots. It was the first lesson that she ever gave me, and what that means is to heal our relationship to our family, heal our relationship to ourselves, heal our relationship to the earth, heal our relationship to the stars, because they are all our roots. We come from the stars. We come from the earth. We come from the unmanifested. Our mother and our father can be understood as reflections of the divine masculine and feminine. And my theory is that our mother and our father are here to represent those archetypes in our lives. Even if they're our adopted parents or our guardians, or maybe if we never even had that father, maybe that whatever that father figure represents to us, that is the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And so what we're really trying to do is heal our relationship to those archetypes and to ourselves so that we can live in this state of absolute happiness, or what I like to call universal freedom, the Ascension stage, total freedom. Everywhere we go, everywhere we are, wherever we are in our life, we feel freedom. Even if we're trapped in a jail cell, we can still access freedom because we've cleansed ourselves enough that we don't need to be anywhere and we don't need anything from anything outside of ourselves in order to find happiness. That's the true goal of this work. So here we are at the end of all of these stages. As I mentioned, this stuff is deep and it will take a lifetime to understand. I mean, for me, I don't know how long it'll take you to understand, but it's been taking me a long time, and I've gone really deep with it. I'm going to keep diving with it and keep going as long as I can. But this is the work. This is how it's a lifelong practice. It's something that we develop and it becomes a lifestyle, becomes a part of who we are. Again, imagine that you're playing a video game. Imagine that life is a video game and your mission, your goal is to learn from the teachers, learn from the archetypes, learn from the parts of who you are, of what you are, so that you can become the totality of what you are. Learn from the wisdom keeper, learn from the warrior knight, learn from the medicine healer, learn from the temple priestess, learn from the divine prophet, from your own higher self. Learn how to become what you really are, because you are not just human. You're not just here to live the default life. You're not just here to work, to put in your time, to check out at 65, to retire on a pension, and to travel once a year. That's not your life. Your life is whatever your vision is for it in your mind. Whatever dream that you can see, that's your life. That's what you're meant to have in the world. You're meant to shine like a fucking bright star, brighter than the sun, shine so bright that everyone in the world raises their frequency as a result of your authenticity. Dimming our shine serves no one. Living in scarcity doesn't create abundance for anyone else. Healing ourselves and becoming free to the truth of what we are, that's the only way to really experience the miracle of creation. And that's what's here for us, a miracle. We're all here. Being here is a miracle. Being alive is a miracle. And that's just the beginning. We can experience so many more miracles beyond that. So that's the end of the stages. As you can see, there's going to be a couple more videos after this. I'm going to keep adding videos after this to help you understand these things. If you are signed up through the page that collects your email, then you're going to be on the email list. Is going to receive updates about this stuff. There will be podcasts, there will be more videos, there will be programs, there will be more resources available for you to continue on this path if you're truly interested. If you're interested in being initiated, like I said, that's going to accelerate things greatly for you. I strongly suggest that you get initiated by me or by somebody else. I would do that ASAP. That's incredibly important. So that's it, everyone. This is the great work. This is the purging of our demons. This is the purging of our intrusions. In Scientology, they call it engrams. In shamanism, they call it intrusions. Christianity, they call it demons. I call it viruses or pain entities. It's the process of healing ourselves so that we can become kids again. We can forgive all of our sins, we can cleanse all of our pain, and we can become children again, children of our own creation, children of the divine wisdom and truth that's available to us, and we can really begin to experience the freedom, the happiness, and the fulfillment that is our birthright. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'll talk to you very soon.